Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Detrone Does It. Of course, I am Detrone and I does stuff. And this week, I am building a bench. Now, this video won't be super detailed because I can't show you everything or it would be a really long video. But I will include all of the materials in a list down below. I'll also include some affiliate links for tools that I use in this project, and I'll place my measurements down in the description as well. Hopefully, all of that will be helpful. Mistakes were definitely made on this project, so you may not want to follow it exactly, but it should give you a pretty good framework to be able to build one of these benches in your own home. All right, let's get to it.
What was the last one? Detrone did this.
I like that one.
Okay.
So again, tools and things down in the description, but one really important piece to assembling this is going to be this Kreg pocket hole system, and you're going to need some good wood glue. I like to set my project up first, that way I can see how it should come together, make sure I cut all my pieces to the right size. Using the pocket hole system is going to allow you to put this bench together without a bunch of exterior screws being visible. Here I'm showing you that there's different sizes or depths that you can go with the pocket hole. You attach this device to the end of your piece of wood. I'm using a clamp here to keep it in place, and then you're just going to drill in and it will create these pocket holes for you. These pocket holes do a great job of hiding those screws in there. So I needed to do this to most of my pieces of wood here. That way you can see I got pocket holes created on all of these inner pieces. I'm going to show you how I attach them all, but the pocket hole again just allows you to hide it. So you're going to need wood glue. You want to glue it. That way you create some additional bond between those pieces of wood before you use that pocket hole screw. Once you got those screwed in, then you're going to attach the top piece. Here again, you're just using the pocket holes. You're drilling 2 of them at a time. You're going to create a nice base. Once you've created that base, you're going to do that same thing again. You'll end up having, like I do here, 2 separate bases. That's going to be your top and your bottom for your bench. Here, now we're going to build out the sides. Those side pieces, again, links are down in the description. You're going to attach via pocket holes as well. This part seems pretty self-explanatory. Once you flip it over, you may have to put something there to brace it. That way it doesn't fall down on you as you glue and attach the other side walls with your pocket hole screws. Once you've attached all the sides, now you're going to attach your bottom piece. Once you've glued and placed your bottom piece on, then again, pocket hole. I know I keep saying that, but that's where you're going with this. All right, so now that you've built your box, you've got to enclose it. So I have these sheets of plywood here. Ignore how I'm cutting them. This is not the way you ideally want to do it. If I had a table saw, which I don't, I would have used that. But here I'm just using my circular saw, and I am cutting as far in as I can and then going to the other side and finishing it. That's not great because it starts to buckle in the middle and it can get the edges a bit rigid. But whatever, it's DIY and I did it. Once you get them the right size, then you use a brad nailer, and this brad nailer is going to allow you to go ahead and attach them. You don't have to be skimpy with the brad nails. Go ahead and make sure that thing is fully attached. And you're going to do that on all of the sides. So you're going to apply some glue. You're going to apply your piece of plywood, whatever thickness you decide to go with, and you're going to brad nail them. So that's what I'm doing here, just enclosing my box. Again, you can use whatever material you want here, but plywood is fairly sturdy and it's not super expensive. And it allows me to do what I'm going to do next after I sand the box, which I want to get it good and sanded down. I don't want any splinters or anything. I'm actually affixing pieces of wood to the front and sides of this box to give it a raised look. So you're going to have your plywood on the inside, and then you'll have these raised 2x4 pieces. Ideally, this is just the design that I chose. You can do any kind of pattern you want or no pattern. You can put an X situation going on, whatever, it's your choice. You're just attaching these with brad nails. You're going to do that on, again, the front, back, and both sides. I sanded it again after putting those pieces on, and I really focused on the areas that will be touching when we're opening or lifting the lid. I wanted to make sure that my boys don't end up getting any splinters or anything there, so I really gave it a really good sand on the top. Here I'm using a piano hinge for my top. I originally intended to use soft close shocks as well, but the ones I bought weren't the right size, so I ended up just going with the piano hinge, and it worked great. This top is a project top, so it came this way. Bought it right from Lowe's, again down in the description, but you can see it's too long, and so I needed to cut it, and that's exactly what I did. Use my saw here to be able to cut off that excess. Remember, you can measure twice, that way you only have to cut once. If you cut it too short, you can't go back. So just remember that when you're measuring it. Here we're using the Min wax and one of these wax application sponges. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not think this color looked good when I originally put it on. It looks too dark. I didn't realize it was gonna look this dark when I grabbed it. I thought it was gonna give me more of a dark brown, and eventually it does. But when I put it on originally, it looked almost black. So this is the box that we have after we've stained it. So one of the things I wanna bring up, I didn't show here, but I went back and I filled in all of those brad nail holes. They're really small, but I went and filled them in with wood filler and then sanded them down and stained them as well. That way you won't be able to see those brad nail holes in the final product. And then here I'm just staining the top to get it to match the rest of the box. So I put these corner brackets on there, and I put them on the top corners on all four sides. I did not put them on the bottom. Beware if you decide to use brackets like this, it could split your wood. I end up splitting the wood there, and I split the wood on the back side of this thing. So that's kind of disappointing when you're this far into a project. Here I'm just checking to make sure that the piece lines up, and then I attached my piano hinge to the top into the box. This is where I made a really big mistake. After lining this thing up and getting it where I wanted it to be, there's 14 holes on the top and the bottom for you to attach, so it's going to be secure. The problem is I placed it too far forward, trying to make sure there was an edge for my kids to be able to grab and lift. I left that much space behind. One good thing is it rests on the bench, so it's not putting a whole lot of pressure on that hinge, but bad thing is that there's a lot of additional space. It just doesn't look good, especially when the lid is closed. So I decided that I was going to move it back a few inches so that when you open the lid, it would sit right on the back of the box. So here's just what it looks like, giving you a view of after being stained and attaching the top, how it's going to look. Again, I tested it to make sure that you can sit on it. You can see it's bowing just a bit there. And I think that was another reason why I decided to actually move the top. So here I'm unattaching all of the screws that I just put in, and I'm sliding that top back just so that it will rest just at the back of the bench. And then I reattached it. After this, I actually went and filled in all of those holes with wood filler and stained them as well. You'll still be able to see the holes there because they're so uniform, but at least they are filled in. And this is the space that I put this bench in. It's in my laundry room. It's where my kids go and drop their backpacks off after school, or I put my work backpack in there. This is the final product, and it wasn't perfect, still not perfect. I didn't paint the bottom or stain the bottom. I didn't feel like I needed to, but this was the bench. I hope it helps. I hope the description helps. Ask questions in the comments. I'm more than happy to respond to them. Peace.